Hi, this will be a short clip making 3 points. First point, I review a past stock mention, how it did, and what it can teach you about targeting sleuth-worthy stocks. Second point, I review a past market call and how it's doing today. The third point, on the importance of understanding how insider buying depends on the inside doing the buying, and the related two big caps, which in my opinion are worth sleuthing. Okay? First point, a mention of a year ago, Meta, the old Facebook. When the stock was at 90 something, I mentioned that the company is sleuth-worthy. Why? For two reasons. First, Meta was on track to spend cumulative $250 billion on R&D, as much as the Apollo space program. R&D, research and development, is the tech equivalent of CapEx, capital spending, the kind of activity that creates new products, which eventually create earnings. So buying R&D cheaply by a company that knows what it's doing is often equivalent to paying a low PE on future earnings. And at the then price of 90 something, the company enterprise value, market cap, plus cash, less debt, was barely 4 times the cumulative R&D, which meant you were getting a commercial cyberspace program extremely cheaply. The second reason, my attempt to find out what Zuckerberg was spending on, what came out that he was spending it on some new VR glasses and on the IT environment in which the new product would operate. And on top, Zuck was cutting cost. What happened since then? Well, Meta came up with new VR glasses, and with the lower cost, earnings zoomed. Zoomed by how much? Since the stock was mentioned here, it is up 4 times. That's a 4-bagger in less than a year and a half. How is that for the sleuthing method? To learn more about how it's done, buy my 2 books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and see for yourself. The second point, I noted more than once that based on my informers in and around Congress, where they are the best traders in the world, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve Board are the wrong thing to watch for investors. You see, usually the Fed was always in charge, but that's in the past. In the past, the Federal Reserve Board told Treasury how many bonds and T-bills to print, and Treasury compliant. That is, both Fed and Treasury cooperated. Today, however, Janet Yellen of the Treasury is the enemy of Jay Powell of the Fed. She wants the market to go up to help President Biden get reelected, while Jay Powell wants the market to go down to cut inflation and help Joe Q Public buy his bread more cheaply. Why do they fight? Because, I am told by my informers, Janet Yellen doesn't care about Joe Q Public. She only cares about her party and getting its members reelected. How do I know my informers are right? First, the market does keep going up and up and up. In fact, it's flying. But second, the last Treasury QRA, that's a quarterly refinancing announcement, shows that Yellen has indeed been printing many more short-term T-bills and less T-bonds, all of which, by the way, Jay Powell has to buy willy-nilly. And because she prints more T-bills with higher rates than bonds, it means she knows she'll have to refinance them in a year and is betting, therefore, on rates being lower in a year from now. It's as good a signal as you can get that Yellen, who is very well informed, is betting on the economy weakening and inflation weakening, which is also why she is printing and goosing the economy and the market. As I noted before, when the S&P was in the low 4,000, I said it was highly likely the market will blow through the all-time high of 48.18, and then all OPM runners, other people money, will have to buy. The market now at a shouting distance from 5,000, and OPM runners I am talking to on Bay Street and Wall Street begin to exude panic of being left behind, which, in my opinion, means the stock market rise has just barely begun. 6,000 on the S&P, here we go. Third and last point. I had told you before that insiders buying and selling is a good marker for which stocks are worth sleuthing. Even though insiders are not always right, both about the price and about the timing, they certainly know more than you and I do. So which stock do I want to point out here? The stock is IEP, Icahn Enterprises. That's Carl Icahn's company, trading in the market. In my last book, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, I show that Carl Icahn, although a terrific investor, has failed to outperform the market over the last 10 years. That's because, in my opinion, he loves the turnaround battle too much and wastes time on battles not worth fighting. First, he got stuck on Xerox, which he has been fighting for the last 7 to 8 years, and more recently on Illumina, ILMN symbol. Now, why do I think IEP itself is worth sleuthing? In a word, Brett Icahn, Carl's son, which, in my opinion, is at least as talented as his father and is much more cool-headed. You see, Carl is in his 80s. Brett is in his 40s. It was Brett, according to rumor, who pushed his dad to buy Netflix at the bottom when Netflix was changing from discs carrying movies to online movies. After Netflix stock tripled, Carl wanted to sell it all, but Brett said, again, according to rumor, no, Dad, keep it. So Carl kept some, promising Brett a percent of the upside, which was a lot, since Netflix stocks tripled from where he sold it and then some more. But this was just advice by Brett. Did Brett ever run money himself? Yes, he did. About a decade ago, his dad gave him and a business partner $3 billion, which Brett and the partner grew into $7 billion in 6 years, outperforming the market at the time, and earning themselves a cool $250 million in incentives. Brett, of course, also made mistakes. For example, he bought into IEP stock at 40 about 3 years ago. The stock is now at 18, down more than 50%. As I said, insiders are often wrong about timing, but how about the stock? Well, Brett is now getting more involved in IEP itself. With both family connections and real Wall Street money-running cred behind him, he has all the chances of succeeding. The story is, in a few years, he'll take over the management of the entire IEP operation. So, is IEP worth buying? This I can't tell you. I can only tell you that, in my opinion, IEP is worth sleuthing. How high can it go? Well, the high on the stock was 45. If Carl steps back and Brett takes charge, IEP can go 2.5 times from here without making any heroic assumption just to get back to the all-time high. Just a regular recovery. Worth sleuthing, in my opinion. Now, before we log off, what of the latest battle of old Carl, Illumina itself, ILMN? Carl brought in the old Illumina CEO, and both are trying to stop an acquisition, cut costs, and refocus the business. Illumina stock is now 144. Its all-time high was 555, or almost 4 times from here. Can it get there again? That's up to you to find out by sleuthing. In our opinion, this one too may be worth your time. That's all for today. Please let me know below what you think of the above, and if you like it, subscribe to my channel and retweet to all your friends and subscribers they subscribe to. Then buy my books, The Sleuth Investor and The Advanced Sleuth Investor, to see how such picks are made and then finalize into a buy decision. I'll see you next time. And meantime, thank you very much for watching.